Okay, great. It's Friday, the 11th of March 2022. Can you believe it? We're on quests. We've been on quests through COVID, we've been on quests through fevers, and we're now on quests through war. You know, nothing will stop us, I tell you. But what a beautiful place we've arrived at, St Kilda's Church. Now, this is on the Isle of Mull, and it's not too far from the Standing Stones, which has a significance, obviously. Regards to St Kilda's Church itself, there's a lot of different schools of thought on it. The main chapel here was in 1200 AD, around that time, 1282 actually, to be precise. But obviously it had older chapel styles anyway, and older buildings and older sacred temples on it, going back to 3000 BC, or if you want BCE, whichever. But going back to over 5,000 years ago. That's a hell of a lot of time, isn't it, in the human history? Look at this place, it's amazing. We've got some beautiful artwork there. This is an interesting saint, actually. St Oban. And you don't hear much about St Oban, really. So it's O-D-H-R-A-M, St Odran. And it is a very interesting fellow. If you get a chance, you won't find much about him online, really, these days. But it's quite suited, really, to see St Odran next to Lord of the Isles Shield, which is absolutely amazing. And I like that. And it's got all the issues. It's got the dolphins, it's got the ships, it's got the cross, the quartered cross, the castle obviously representing Moy Castle, and obviously the lion. As we know, King Richard used the lion as well. In fact, the symbol of the lion has been used for millennia. So it's not a new thing. Not even in medieval times, it wasn't really considered new back then. As we walk around it, you get a lovely feel about the place. You probably can't see too much over there, but you've got the pulpit here. Pretty good, I would say. Some of the region about 1450, actually, to be honest. But the original water blessings, that would have been done in that little section outside in the porch area, which I've just took a picture of the main cross and the blessing point there. So we've got, we've got the Nunacian salute. We can see that very clearly in the picture. We've got the Star of Heaven. We've got obviously Michael and Gabriel, and obviously the baby Jesus, the transcendence of Michael to Jesus, I guess. Now, interestingly, we've got Mary Magdalene, lady in red there, look, down the bottom, which is nice to see. There's so much detail in that one specific piece of artwork on that one there. It's amazing, it truly is. Again, you're in a modern day, so obviously the modern day shield in there as well. So obviously it must be a local chap, I guess. And then we come to the man himself, St Kilda. Now notice that St Kilda, there's a few things you really need to notice here that actually refer to the side chapter in Freemasonry. So where the Freemason in that particular side degree would, side passing, would stand on his sword. And that's exactly what St Kilda's doing there. He's standing on his sword. Notice we've also got a representation of the third degree of the coughing, the death to rebirth. So that's really interesting as well. So, you know, the Freemasons did not create this. Yeah, they have took on board the symbology, Mithras, over the years, in fairness. There's a great lot of detail there. We've got the gold stole, quite usual for the time. Like the way he's got his left hand in the symbol and gesture, which is quite nice too. Rows, diamonds, squares, they're all there within that pattern. So that's a really nice piece of artwork. On to here, the only thing I really want to show you here, which I think is quite nice, obviously I'll show you all the stained glasses, but we don't really need to. This is absolutely beautiful. Now, as we can see, it's to the glory of God and the everlasting memory of Lieutenant W. Malcolm, wounded at Cape Hells, died in Malta, June 1915, aged only 26 years. But I just love this piece of work here, the writings. It's an absolutely wonderful piece. Yes, we've got the royal symbol there as well, which is lovely to see. It's a really nice, it's a nice plaque and memorial given to him. And you can see that someone else has done another part with the cross, the quartered cross, into the hand and cutting blood, which is quite nice. Yeah, so someone's clearly done that. which is quite nice locally. As we go through here, you get a great sense of peace and calm here, apart from my voice, guys. So now let me tell you about this little chap. There's some here that you probably never heard of. Finderhouse. So St. Finderhouse. So blue, lovely, hands solemn, lovely red sun behind, crown of the bishop above. Very nice detail. Note that his symbology that's being used here, which is the quadrants, is also the same that we saw on St Kilda's as well. So were they one and the same person? Who knows? Who knows? Then we come to the lot that we always come across this particular chap. We always come across St Columba. And we come across him so many times, especially on the Western Isles, as in the western coast of Scotland and the Isles, and Eire, and Northern Ireland, because that's all, and even Wales. We come across St Columba so many times. Look at the purple shoes he's wearing, the purple of the craft. Now look at his staff. Look, his staff is very, very different to what you'd normally see. Look, it actually has a point coming down at the bottom. Yes, we've got the diamond set rose, and then we've got the rose again. That's pretty typical. Again, we've got this symbol of the quadrants, which is really, really good. Note his hand. Hand's really worthwhile taking note too. They're very good. Just a wonderful piece of artwork. And do notice, please do notice, because they always tell their own tale. Please do notice the fact that he's got two gloves, different. One of the circle, one of the square. You think it's a diamond, but it's a square. And we know, why is that circle there and why is that square there? What is a square? An angle of 90 degrees or a fourth part of a circle. And there it is. There it is, bold as brass, bright as day, or as bright as we can get it in here anyway. There's just so much to show you. I'm going to show you the most important parts in here really. I mean, obviously we've got lots of photographs that I'm sure will go online as well. Really, really nice. Really, really nice pulpit. Font down there, pulpit here. Nice. I like it that it's got mention to the Book of Ruth in there. I particularly like that the pages are set to St Matthew, verse 27, which is quite good as well, quite useful. Anyway, when we come up here, this is probably, now often the most simplest things in life can be or in any place that you go to, the most simplest innate objects can be the most important object that you'll get to see that day, if your eyes allow you to see. This is the most important object in the entire church. We have the fishermen, so we've got the fisher king. We have those who fell from the sky, but they're not falling this time, they're shooting off. Well, you could say, well, that's just a shooting star. It's not. He's pleading for them to take him with them. You can see he's pleading, please, please, and they're leaving. They're leaving. Bishop's hat, beautiful. Cross keys to the kingdom, the symbol of knowledge and wisdom and knowledge, beautiful. But really take charge to those. This is probably the most important piece in the entire church today. And say most simplest things are often the most important. Really. I like the altar cloth. It's nice. Really good symbology. I love the fact it's using the early Christian symbol of the six-pointed star. It had been used in Christianity since its creation. I try not to make reference to it as the Star of David these days, although in some of my books I have. I really want you to pay attention to this particular fellow. And that's brilliant. Because that shows you frequency and vibration. Now this little fellow is a symbol that only some people will know is made to use, and that symbol represents vibration and frequency. So that's really important. Nice few little roses on there as well. So there's a bit of a balance there going on. It's not by any surprise that there's 4 of those on there. There should be 4 on there, which creates 5 at the end of the day, I guess. So it creates the five, the fifth senses, the sense of awakening. When we look up here at this wonderful piece here above the altar, the actual main artwork here, we can see again that we've got the Jesus on the cross. Please note, obviously, as we well know by now that he wasn't cut through his hands. In fact, that never happened. So the stigmata aspect is a bit of an interesting. I think that's more of something that happens with people generally in their own brains, because they believe something so much that it becomes a reality. So we've got the Mary here with her beautiful golden hair, red clothing as well, but notice she's wearing the sun symbol. It can be so easily missed. On her right arm is the symbol of the sun. Now the Aztecs use that same symbol in 3 of their different kingdoms, for one of those. So that's quite nice to see. I like the fact that we've got the guild at the top here on each side. If we look at them carefully, we can actually see a horned god. I don't know if you can see that on the gold here, on the yellow, on each side. Just as you come over to the arch, you've got the purple disc, and then you've actually got 2 horned gods each side. So on this one, you haven't got angels, and that's what makes it different. You haven't got angels, you haven't got Gabriel and Michael. You've got 2 horned gods instead. Quite unusual for a church, isn't it? So very interesting. 2 roses down the bottom, aligned in red, gold gild, obviously faded a little bit over the time, but still there and evident. Very nice. I think the last thing I'd like to bring you to is just this little baby, because it's quite nice. I like it. It's a more modern piece and a modern addition to the church in the sense of its age, but it's still old enough. Sent around, and this will be used. You can see that he's almost christening himself into the what they'd use for christening. You see, up this part. So it's quite nice how he's on the shoreline there. But look how he's got his hands crossed over there. Very, very significant. But I say some beautiful pieces in here. I say the rest, there's too much to film in one session, really, to be fair. But what a beautiful, beautiful place. St Kilda's Church, Isle of Mull, near the place of Loch Buoy.